She was hypnotized. She was drugged. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and shit while she was asleep. Snacking on his bitch, killing people cats.
For almost 20 years, the pop universe waited for the inevitable Rihanna-Beyoncé duet, two dynamos under the same Roc Nation roof, bound to collide in the studio and set streaming records on fire. Yet it never happened. And tonight we peel back the velvet curtain to see why. Long before any feud trended, a teen singer from Barbados discovered that sharing a mentor with the queen of pop came with unspoken costs, whispered offers, and an invisible line she refused to cross. Jay-Z's office door clicked shut the day she auditioned. Contracts slid across glass, and rumors of hands that lingered too long started flickering through the industry like faulty stage light.
Said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But even then, Rihanna still called Beyoncé her biggest inspiration, believing sisterhood trumped scandal. That illusion cracked as soon as her first platinum plaques threatened the throne. The blogs hinting Jay might be too impressed with his Caribbean protégé, and Bey's camp firing back with icy distance, until every award show photo op looked staged and frosty. Sessions that should have birthed a blockbuster collab fell apart in silence. Insiders claiming Beyoncé's team wanted creative control, while Rihanna bristled at being molded into a sidekick. "I'm not here to harmonize behind anyone," she told a friend. Yet the tension stayed backstage, invisible to fans.
Rihanna was trafficked to Def Jam.
She was an innocent baby when she came over here. And look
She
at
was
her now.
14 going on 15 years old. Flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Right up until a bizarre cheesecake stunt exposed a private alliance that left Rihanna stunned. Diddy, of all people, marching day band through 4 hours of New York streets just to satisfy a dessert craving Beyoncé never bothered to fetch herself. A flex so petty it felt like a warning about how power really moved in those circles. In that moment, Rihanna realized some doors in the industry open only if you kneel first, and she vowed never to bow, even if it meant no dream duet, no glossy joint tour, and years of speculation about bad blood. She was too discreet to confirm. But if you think that cheesecake was the end of the story, buckle up, because the next bite proves a whole lot stickier than sugar.
Beyonce is losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything. Just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say something?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say.
Cast your mind back to 2003 when reality TV still felt half real, and Diddy's Making the Band ruled Thursday nights. Millions laughed as he ordered 6 hungry hopefuls to trek from Midtown to Brooklyn in winter, heel to pavement for 4 straight hours just to retrieve a single Junior's cheesecake, yet the cruel punchline never aired. That cake wasn't for Diddy's sweet tooth at all, it was for a private guest perched upstairs at Daddy's House Studios, Beyonce Knowles, then freshly solo and jockeying for alpha status in Pop's crowded ring. Ex-member Freddie P broke the silence years later, swearing the diva took one bite while the boys limped back blistered and humiliated, proof that her rapport with Diddy ran deeper than casual industry small talk, a rapport Rihanna knew nothing about when she first idolized Bey.
Let's keep it a buck, guys, now that all this stuff that came out. You dig, with all these people, man, and messing with these minors. Your boy Jay-Z, man, you know he was with Rihanna, you dig? Jay-Z was definitely messing with Rihanna.
The revelation landed like a clue in a detective novel, exposing how favors, humiliation rituals, and whispered IOUs stitched this glittering empire together. And it made Rihanna reconsider every invite that crossed her phone. If Beyoncé could giggle over cheesecake delivered on bleeding feet, what else might she laugh off behind closed penthouse doors? Observers now connect dots they missed in real time. Jay-Z and Diddy trading yacht weekends. Beyoncé sliding into Manhattan loft parties after hours. 3 titans forming an unbreakable triangle of charts, endorsements, and allegedly something far darker. Insiders claim that same year, a teen Rihanna spotted a text thread between Jay's circle and Diddy's.
And guess what? They wouldn't give her a restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else.
Coded phrases like after hours tasting and special dessert for the queen, their meaning crystal clear the night she watched a band return, shoes soaked and egos shredded. Power didn't just flaunt itself, it demanded sacrifice for its own amusement. Terrified yet fascinated, Rihanna filed the moment away, a yellow flag warning she would recall each time her phone buzzed with an invitation marked private, no plus ones, phones at door, invitations she ultimately declined. But Beyonce didn't just accept, she orchestrated, and the cheesecake caper was her playful test, proving Diddy would grovel to satisfy even her most trivial craving, setting a precedent for later favors far less innocent.
Reality, I do believe that Beyonce is into dark magic and black magic as well, her and Jay-Z, and we just gonna leave it at that.
The industry forgot the story, burying it under platinum plaques, until Freddie's confession resurfaced in live streams last year, igniting forums with a new question. If dessert demanded a 4-hour hazing, what fresh rituals brewed once cameras vanished? That question, sharp, unresolved, haunted Rihanna's conscience as 2020 rolled in and a certain rap star found himself alone in a locked room with Diddy, Beyonce, and Jay-Z, because for Rihanna the cheesecake wasn't comedy, it was the breadcrumb trail to the night the freak-offs began, and the next chapter shows exactly how that trail led straight to her doorstep. 3 years before the pandemic silenced LA's nightlife.
Relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, you did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
An after-hours gathering at Diddy's Hilltop mansion rewrote every rumor Rihanna had ever brushed off as gossip. It was early 2020, the city swimming in Grammy Week energy, when the mogul famously cleared the room, ejecting half the guest list, then waved a select 15 back inside. DaBaby remembers the moment because security locked every phone in velvet pouches, curtains snapped shut, and suddenly the roster looked like a billionaire cipher. Diddy, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and a rising Carolina rapper blinking under chandelier light. According to DaBaby's later interview, Beyonce crossed the carpet first, introduced herself like a fan, and kept the small talk humming while Diddy poured Ciroc, but the vibe felt charged.
I just want to skip to the end. All the shit is f***ed up, all you is weird. Go to jail.
Coded, as if politeness was the prelude to an unspoken audition. Industry whistleblower Jaguar Wright, watching that clip, called it the freak-off filter, the point where newcomers either proved they could keep secrets or got kicked back to civilian life. And her claim lit social media because it matched whispers from stylists who'd sprinted emergency makeup kits up winding stairs, only to find lingerie laid out like gift bags. NDAs thicker than hotel Bibles floated across marble counters, and those who signed allegedly witnessed scenes that would fry a YouTube age restriction bot. Perfumed smoke, R-rated dares, and high-profile couples swapping +1s like festival wristbands, all under the hush of grown folks' business. Whether Beyonce participated or merely observed is still debated in Discord channels, but every source agrees she wasn't an accidental bystander. She and Jay arrived arm in arm, stayed past 3 a.m., and left in a convoy of black SUVs that skipped every paparazzi choke point. The story might have stayed a footnote if DaBaby hadn't retold it on a podcast, eyes wide at the memory of Beyonce's laser focus on him, the way she said his name twice like a coded green light, and that retelling cracked open a timeline detectives could finally map. Cheesecake in 2003 proved the friendship. The 2020 mansion scene hinted at ritual, and the receipt that would blow the pattern wide open was still in Rihanna's text archive, because just weeks later, her phone pinged with a private after-hours invite stamped by the same 3 names, and her refusal would ignite sabotage she never saw coming. But before the fallout, she first had to decide whether to cross that velvet rope threshold, a decision that, in her mind, meant choosing between superstardom's next level and the last shard of her own safety, an impossible choice that sets the stage for our next chapter. When the same trio who'd hosted that Velvet Curtain Midnight Mixer pinged Rihanna's phone with an invite.
2020, y'all. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire.
Private after hours, no plus ones, phones checked at door. She froze because it read like deja vu of a night she'd tried to forget. Back in 2005, 17 and breathless, she'd followed Jay-Z into a Roc Nation corner office where the lock clicked behind her, contracts slid across the glass, and a joking threat, door or window, your choice, sent a chill that lingered long after the ink dried. Rumors later swirled that he'd done more than strong-arm a signature, and while Rihanna never confirmed the whispers, her eyes went flinty anytime reporters prodded, a silent confession that something about that meeting still crawled under her skin. So in 2020, staring at the new invite, she weighed the stakes, accept and be looped into the inner sanctum, or decline and risk becoming industry collateral. She hit ignore, booked a red-eye to Barbados, and disappeared into Fenty Labs, pouring anger into foundation shades instead of hooks and bridges. Within weeks, payback arrived. Out of nowhere, her anti-album leaked on Tidal. Jay and Bey's own platform, hours before its scheduled drop, gutting first week numbers, while Beyoncé's carefully embargoed Lemonade rolled out with movie premiere pomp. Fans cried sabotage, PR teams blamed technical glitches, but insiders whispered that the leak was a warning shot. In this circle, you don't say no to freak-offs without consequences. Rihanna, furious yet strategic, doubled down on Fenty, watched sales rocket past 1 billion, and quietly shelved her next LP, telling friends she'd rather stack makeup palettes than trade her boundaries for platinum plaques. Behind the scenes, label execs pleaded, just one single, just one Beyoncé collab. Yet every coaxing email reminded her of that locked door, that cheesecake humiliation run, and the mansion night she dodged in the nick of time. She tightened her inner circle, birthed 2 children, stepped onto the 2025 Met Gala carpet with baby bump number 3, and when a reporter asked about new music, she smiled like a cat with 9 lives and said, "I'm busy protecting my peace."
There's 2 words that she hid and said different words so that she wouldn't get caught. You better think twice. Blink twice? Yeah. She said that on purpose because in the movie, there's a Desideria, the perfume in the movie where they forget everything that was said to them.
That piece, however, is about to face its toughest test yet, because federal subpoenas with Diddy's name at the top are circling, sealed witness lists are bulging with A-listers, and Rihanna's refusal to play the game might soon collide with a courtroom spotlight she never asked for, but one that could finally expose every cheesecake, every locked door, every velvet-robed secret the industry tried to keep buried. The house lights crashed on February 26, 2024, when 30 Homeland Security agents and windbreakers, backs stenciled with HSI trafficking, poured through Diddy's Star Island mansion at dawn, seizing encrypted laptops, a walk-in vault of hard drives, and a Rolodex said to include everyone from hedge fund titans to top 40 royalty. TMZ's helicopter footage went viral in minutes, but what the livestream missed was the sealed warrant listing 14 unnamed celebrity facilitators, a roster the feds claim accepted either hush money, referral bonuses, or in-kind participation at gatherings prosecutors now label commercially coerced sexual events. Court insiders leaked that witness A11 is an international female recording artist with multiple Grammys and public marriage to co-conspirator C7, a description fans decoded as Beyoncé within hours. And suddenly hashtags like #Beyoncé and #WhoIsC7 barrel rolled across X. Pundits replayed DaBaby's mansion anecdote as corroboration. Reddit sleuths matched private jet tail numbers showing Beyoncé and Jay-Z landing in Miami the exact weekends Diddy subpoenaed catering invoices spiked, and digital forensics analysts hired by the government began stitching together CCTV timestamps that allegedly place Queen Bee in 2 rooms that later appear in victim affidavits. With curtains identical to the lime silk drapes glimpsed in Lemonade's Sorry visual, a chilling aesthetic breadcrumb. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's pivot to damage control felt frantic, lawyers firing off preemptive statements, Roc Nation interns purging keywords from archived press releases.
Like that you mentioned Jay-Z, I want to actually ask you a question about Jay-Z. You said in that interview with Jaguar Wright and Real Life Productions, you stated that you were actually the one responsible for spreading the rumor that Jay-Z and Rihanna had hooked up. Do you believe that
and a sudden philanthropic press blitz promising $15 million to urban youth coding camps, which cynics read as a strategic smokescreen. Rihanna, perched in her Paris brownstone nursing newborn Riot Rose and scrolling the chaos at 3 a.m., texted her old friend Melissa Ford a single chess piece emoji because the empire that once tried to grind her album release into dust now looked like a Jenga tower missing too many middle blocks. As depositions loomed, Beyoncé's legal team filed 3 emergency motions to keep her name redacted, but federal judge Mariana Sullivan denied the third, writing, "Public figures cannot invoke privacy to eclipse potential complicity." Stock and LVMH, partner to both Diddy's De Leon Tequila and Beyoncé's Ivy Park line, dipped 8 points overnight, and whispers from inside title claim engineers were told to triple erase server logs predating 2019. The Department of Justice, however, had already cloned the RAID arrays, and one source says metadata places Beyoncé and Diddy on the same secure group chat where guest lists, NDA PDFs, and menu tiers, coded language for sexual services, were negotiated. With a tentative RICO trial set for October 2025, prosecutors reportedly prepared a plea bargain matrix offering reduced fines for early cooperation, an offer Rihanna privately hopes Beyoncé will take, not out of mercy, but because a taped deposition would finally validate everything the industry dismissed as island girl jealousy. Yet nothing is guaranteed. Power is slippery, lawyers are lethal, and sealed settlements have muzzled bigger scandals. Still, for the first time, the glitterati gaze is pointed not at red carpet gowns, but at docket numbers, and the world waits to see if pop's most guarded dynasty will crack under the federal floodlights. While subpoenas swirled like confetti over Manhattan, Rihanna orchestrated her life with the calm menace of a general who knows she already won the war. Fenty Beauty's 2024 holiday drop sold out in 37 minutes, pushing the brand's valuation past $3 billion.
When I first met her, and she wrote, she was telling me, just let loose when you perform and just have fun and be in control.
Fenty X Puma's Satin Creepers resurfaced and crashed the SNKRS app twice. Forbes crowned her the wealthiest female musician alive, and still she skipped the Grammys, the very stage that once crowned Beyoncé 32 times, posting an Insta story of her toddler scribbling on a platinum plaque captioned "New Decor." Insiders say she turned down a Super Bowl encore because the halftime board wanted a surprise Beyoncé cameo. Instead, she bankrolled Savage X Fenty's Volume 5 show, hiring trans models, disabled dancers, and Lizzo as executive producer in a feminist flex so inclusive it made every Victoria's Secret comeback plan feel like expired milk. At home, she and a $1 AP Rocky converted a Bel Air estate into a soundproof compound, part nursery, part Dolby Atmos lab, where Rihanna records on her terms, no ANDR notes, no midnight studio check-ins, just a handwritten sign on the gate, no managers, no moguls, no mess. Friends whisper she's piecing together a documentary titled Closed Door Open Window, a nod to Jay-Z's coercive quip during her 2005 audition, mixing unseen VHS tour footage with contemporary confessional monologues. Apple TV Plus allegedly dangled an 8-figure offer, but she stalled, waiting to see how Diddy's trial and Beyoncé's potential unmasking unfold, because timing a narrative is everything in the attention economy. And then came the 2025 Met Gala. Rihanna stepped onto the Crimson Stairs wearing a sculpted scarlet corset studded with 653 tiny lemon yellow diamonds, one for every 1,000 first week unit Beyoncé's Lemonade sold after Auntie leaked, turning petty data into haute couture shade. Paparazzi screamed for details, but she simply smiled and draped a silk cape embroidered with the Latin phrase "mea non culpa," not my guilt. Within minutes, the dress shot to the top of every trend chart, while Beyoncé's absence, cited as scheduling conflicts, spawned think pieces about optics, guilt, and karma.
So as far as the rumor, I came out and said that I started the rumor a long time ago because I was told that I would be rewarded significantly.
Okay.
You know, for coming out and saying that I started the rumor, and it stuck. I was to be the one that was to fall on the sword, so to speak.
Even Rihanna's motherhood became a chess move. Baby Riot's middle name is Grace, quietly honoring Grace Jones, the icon who once accused Diddy of theft and intimidation, an Easter egg fans devoured on TikTok. Yet the sweetest revenge has been her silence. Each time a blogger begs for comment on the Diddy docket, she flips the conversation to philanthropic wins. $50 million toward Caribbean climate relief, 400 college scholarships via Clara Lionel Foundation, cementing a legacy measured not in chart peaks, weeks, but in lives changed. Industry execs now admit off record that inviting her to the freak-offs might be the most expensive yes they never got, because Rihanna transformed a rejected proposition into an empire too large for anyone to cancel. And every new product drop, every maternity shoot Vogue cover, every philanthropic headline is a quiet reminder she didn't need the machine, she built her own. The morning after the raid, TikTok morphed into a real-time courthouse. Clips of Diddy's handcuffed walk of shame looped beside split screens of Beyoncé's 2014 flawless speech, while Gen Z creators slow-zoomed on her micro-expressions at past Roc Nation brunches, hunting for guilt like CSI with ring lights. Twitter Spaces erupted into 24-hour panels where self-styled internet jurors cross-examined leaked documents, and fan armies drafted color-coded conspiracy threads mapping every Beyoncé airport sighting to rumored freak-off weekends. Cheesecake Gate trended for 3 straight days, complete with Google Earth reconstructions of that 4-hour march. Instagram gossip pages posted receipts of NDAs allegedly signed by makeup artists, and when one stylist blurred the signature block a little too tardily, armchair analysts sharpened the image, traced the loops, and claimed the scrawl matched Bey's own autograph from a 2003 poster giveaway. Meanwhile, Rihanna stoked the wildfire with surgical subtlety. She liked a tweet reading, "There's a difference between privacy and secrecy," then vanished, letting the algorithm work as her unpaid publicist. By week's end, Tidal's app reviews tanked to 1 star with users typing, "Leak my faves again, I dare you."
Right. And so, have they told you any little tips of how to stay grounded in this crazy business that we're in?
Well, they don't know anything about the business, so I kind of had to adapt myself, but they helped to keep me grounded.
Spotify pushed Anti onto New Music Friday 9 years late, and Columbia Records convened an emergency PR summit titled Contain the Hive, proving that in 2025 a scandal isn't televised. It's live-streamed, meme-ified, and immortalized in 20-second bursts that sting harder than a headline. June 3rd, 2025, Miami's federal courthouse posts the preliminary docket, United States v. Combs et al., and sets October 6th for jury selection, jolting Hollywood executives who'd banked on settlement whispers. Prosecutors list 42 overt acts supporting the RICO charge, including Event 32 private talent showcase involving co-conspirators C7 and C9 on or about January 12, 2020, sending Reddit into redaction bingo as users align that date with the DaBaby Mansion night. Beyonce's camp files motion hash 187 to quash subpoena of her 2015 to 2022 travel manifests, citing trade secret tour logistics. But Judge Sullivan schedules a July hearing, hinting she'll compel disclosure, network news books, body language experts to dissect every courthouse step shrug, while bookies in Vegas open odds on plea deals. 5-1 Diddy flips, 7-2 Beyonce testifies, 15-1 Jay-Z walks untouched. Rihanna's inner circle quietly hires a documentary crew to capture her studio sessions. Her lawyers vet archival iMessages for potential evidentiary value, and a fragrance chemist in Grass formulates Fenty No. 29, a limited edition scent timed for the trial's opening day. Press notes describe it as top notes of lemon zest, heart of defiance, dry down of unbothered cashmere, a marketing wink that turns subpoenas into shelf space. With 4 months left, witnesses weigh immunity versus backlash. PR teams rehearse damage control speeches, and the world sets alarms for a courtroom showdown poised to rewrite the rules of pop loyalty, because when October arrives, silence will testify louder than any sworn oath. So here we stand at the edge of a trial that could redraw the constellation of modern pop. Diddy fighting for freedom, Beyonce battling redactions, Jay-Z juggling empire optics.
Feelings about that, man, to the point to where he got Chris Brown banned from performing at the BET Awards, you dig? But like, you know, Jay-Z to me is bigger than the diddler. You know, he got ties to a lot of multi-billionaires. The difference between Jay-Z and the diddler is, man, he kind of keep his stuff on the low.
Federal attorneys aligning witnesses like chess bishops, and Rihanna watching from a Paris balcony, baby cradled on one hip, phone in the other, ready to hit publish on a truth bomb documentary the instant sealed names turn public. It's a Shakespearean twist where the outsider girl they once tried to subdue holds the final trump card, and maybe the lesson is this: power that demands silence eventually deafens itself to warning bells, while a voice that refuses to bow can echo longer than any chart-topping hook. Which legacy survives? arrives. Beyonce's meticulously polished crown, Diddy's mogul mythos, or Rihanna's Phoenix Rise will hinge on courtroom transcripts, digital breadcrumbs, and the courage of witnesses deciding whether to trade hush money for absolution. The next headline could detonate everything we thought we knew about pop royalty. Will Beyonce's name stay black-barred or blaze across page 1? Will Diddy flip to save himself and sink an entire VIP circle? Will Rihanna finally read the receipts she's kept in cold storage and watch the industry that sidelined her beg for a feature credit on her story? Drop your predictions below, because when the gavel falls this October, Stardom's glittering facade might shatter for good, and you'll want front row seats when the shards start flying.